Hi everybody, welcome back. My name is Debbie Walsh. This channel is Choosing Peace, Love, and Happiness. Welcome to the channel. Thank you for visiting. And if you're here watching this, you're watching for a reason, because that's how the universe and the divine work, right? We're all led to information that we need when we need it. So you're here for a reason. I am speaking to self-help healing concepts on this channel and things that I learned along my healing journey, and trying to share it with others and pass it on to others so that we can ripple out healing into the universe. Okay, so in this series, I'm reviewing Dr. Wayne Dyer's 10 Secrets for Success and Inner Peace. So in the last segment, I did, 1, 2, and 3, and now we're up to the 4th secret. And the 4th secret is embrace silence. Make conscious contact with God. Oh my God, I love this. Silence is the way to experience the oneness and the indivisibility of God. This is why you want to meditate. It's how you know God, rather than having to settle for knowing about God. Sorry, these cards, it's like a light on light. So obviously I was challenged in reading that. But anyway, this is perfect. And embracing silence was very, very big on my healing journey, because I think most of us and our culture does condition us to be, go, 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 do, 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 in a constant state of motion, right? And a lot of times people don't have comfort if they are not doing something, right? It causes like a level of dissonance to just be still. And I actually know people, and myself included, at a time in my life. But when we can learn to embrace silence and be still, everything that bubbles up inside, right? It comes up for a reason, for us to learn from it and heal it and then grow. But the busier we are, we can try to just ignore everything that's coming up within us and not respond to it, and try to stuff it down with food or drinking or drugs or whatever it is, shopping, whatever it is. We try to just temper what we're feeling. So silence and embracing silence is very cathartic. I found it very cathartic for myself, and now it's interesting that he's speaking to this as well. But when we are still and we connect with God and we communicate just from our heart, right? And it's just between us and the divine. No one else knows, has to know. And when we're in that conversation and in that stillness and peace with the divine, a lot of things start to, it sounds a little catchy or whatever, but they'll start to heal themselves, right? Because when we accept silence and sit in silence, then we will experience a stillness within that ends up benefiting us and healing our hurts and our wounds. But when we're going and going all the time and trying to just be busy, busy, busy so that we don't have to feel, we're kind of putting our healing off like for another day. So I love that. That's beautiful. All right, so let's go to the next one in embracing silence. Keep your silent communication with God to yourself. There you go. There it is. And these are hard to read. It's best not to divulge your private insights to others. When you do so, you may often feel the need to explain and defend your ideas. Once the ego is present, the manifesting stops. Perfect. Oh my God, these are fantastic. That's why he was so popular. Yeah, that is a big thing. That happened for me as well, because when I shared with others, people respond to a lot of things from their own ego and make judgments on others, right? Whether they're verbalizing it or not, or they're body movements might give you a clue, as to where they're coming from, their speech, their body language, their, interpersonal, movements, if you will. There's a lot that's telling, right? So when we just keep it between us and God, then it's all encompassing, and it's a very loving, caring, divine spirit that lives within us and is a loving, caring spirit for us in our everyday lives, right? And then that's where the magic happens when you get to that place, because then you can pray and you can speak to the divine, and then you get answers. That's the amazing part too. And it's only between you and the divine, God, universe, angels, whatever you believe. And then when you ask a question and then you get the physical answer in this 3D human experience, it's mind-blowing. At least that's how it was for me. It was totally mind-blowing. So hopefully, some of this is resonating with you. Now let's go to the next one. In Embracing Silence, go to nature and find your peace. Give yourself opportunities to be in the wilderness as a regular part of your life routine. This is the ultimate therapy, and it's much less expensive than paying someone to listen to you. Unbelievable. I didn't do any of that when I was younger, and I was in my ego and on my healing journey. I didn't do any of that. But as a result of self-help healing and years worth of inner work on myself, I found that to be 1000% true. To just go for a walk and to still yourself and just be out in nature, the trees, the birds, the sunshine, the wind, the rain, whatever it is, just to be out and focusing on breathing, right? And breathing in the oxygen and exhaling and your body moving. It's all healing. All of that is healing. So perfectly said. To just be still and quiet and be aware of the beautiful universe that we live in, right? And to tap into its stillness and its beauty. It's very cathartic, very healing. Okay, this one is become aware of the space between your thoughts. In the silent space between your thoughts, you'll find the peace you crave and reconnect to your source, which some call God. Perfect. There is space between our thoughts. We can, or I should say, this is all just magnificent. And I have read his stuff prior, but these cards are fantastic. Because our thoughts, like people can have racing thoughts, right? And repetitive thoughts, where, we get into a mindset when we're upset or hurt or angry, whatever it is. And thoughts can kind of spiral, right? They can just keep building on themselves and can actually show up in your body, in your spirit, right? In your mind, in your behavior, right? So when we can just slow down, be conscious and aware of what we're thinking, and once we master that really requires, I believe, a level of mastery to really benefit from it. But when we can be aware of our thoughts and see how they affect us and how they affect the outcome in our lives, and then put space between thoughts, and to not just have repetitive thoughts, to just be still, take a breath, and be conscious of your thoughts. Because what happens is a lot of people think that if we think something, like it's true, or if we think something, we have to respond to the thought. And if we think something, it means something, right? And we can personalize it. So the key is to have a thought, and let it go. Let the thought go. He mentioned, and I spoke to it in the prior videos, to not personalize things and to not personalize our thoughts, right? It's just a thought. And a lot of this specifically applies to, you know, Alcoholic Anonymous, you know, any drug, you know, drug support groups. They use this and apply this modality or this thought process, which is very beneficial, is to like picture your thought as like being on a cloud. And the minute you think it, you're just still and you can watch the thought just float away. We don't have to respond to every thought that we have. And it does, and we can just learn, because when we have certain thoughts, we create our feelings, right? And when we're in our feelings and we feel like we have to respond or not respond or stuff it down, there's a whole host of things, right, that happen there. But when we have a thought and we have the awareness like, oh, that's an upsetting thought, I'm gonna let that go. Because when we have an upsetting thought and then we think it again or think other upsetting thoughts, it kind of builds on itself. So when we can have a thought and say, you know what, that's nice, I'm gonna let it go, and be at peace, and you can instill some breathing techniques with that, right? And do it in conjunction with some breath work and breathing techniques. That'll help condition you to not respond to every thought that you have. They don't need to be responded to, because a lot of times they're fear-based, right? They're fear, oh, here goes the light. They're fear-based, and we can then act in a fearful way, which will, you know, kind of ripple out. So I love that. Put a space between your thoughts. Okay, now this next one is make meditation a daily practice. Yep, sit quietly and repeat the sound of ah in the morning, and om, oh, ah and om, in the evening for 20 minutes. This will allow you to experience inner peace and success in a way you may have never known before. That helped me. All these things, this is amazing for me. I don't mean to make this about me. I'm just giving examples from personal experience, but I found silence so cathartic and healing, and music that had no words, that was just like high-pitched sounds or soothing sounds, like, you know, in a lot of the meditation type videos. And to, you know, to be still, to be silent, to listen to music that has no words. It's just soothing for your, you know, all your senses, basically, right? And to just sit and be still, and to just make it part of your day, right? And when there's certain sounds, like if we say and you'll find a lot of this online on like YouTube, a whole bunch of videos. All you have to do is search for it. But a lot of sounds, like they create vibrations in the body. Like if you hum, like it vibrates in your throat chakra, right? And it vibrates in your body and it ripples out through your body. So there's simple things like that, that if you told someone just like, you know, off the cuff, verbatim, like just do, they'll be like, yeah, okay, whatever. But they don't realize that there is a level of science behind a lot of this stuff that works for yourself, to calm yourself and to calm your body. And he's actually referencing some of these things in these cards, which is wonderful. So, all right, that's it for the fourth secret to inner peace and success by Wayne Dyer. Thank you for joining me. Wishing you peace, love, and happiness on your healing journey. I'm available for coaching. If you're moved, if it resonates for you, leave a comment down below. I have my, you know, information in the description box, so a way to contact me if you need assistance with any of this. I'm here. If not, that's fine too. It's all divine. Wishing you peace, love, and happiness on your healing journey. Namaste. See you in the next video. Bye.